Good morning, selamat pagi semua. Welcome everybody. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Please, we want to welcome you to our event, Update from Indonesia, a program specially organized by the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in cooperation with Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, BKPM, Badan Koordinasi Penanaman Modal, and Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, KADIN Indonesia. First of all, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Andika Rutten, and I'm from the Indonesia-Nederland Society. Today, I will be your virtual host. It's such a great honor for me to welcome His Excellency, Mr. Bahlil Lahadalia, the Chairman of the Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board, and also His Excellency Ambassador Designated Meyer Vos, who will soon serve as the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Netherlands. Today's event is not only about investment in Indonesia, but it's also about current business development. And that's why we are thinking of the latest state visit in Indonesia. It is still fresh in our mind that the Dutch economic mission has taken place in March. It has resulted into fruitful cooperation with the signing of around 30 MOUs and, of course, uncountable people-to-people contacts. And that is why it's so unfortunate that COVID-19 has, we were not able to meet each other again, and we were not able to visit Indonesia. But that's why today we are so fortunate to organize this event. We are looking to what Indonesia has to offer, including the high quality products and recent developments on the business climate related in Indonesia. Today, we will also be entertained by the string orchestra Astra Maya. Without further ado, I would like to kindly invite the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in The Hague, the Honorable Mr. Fikri Cassidy, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Sir, the floor is yours.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon to all of our viewers from Netherlands and also from Indonesia. I speak on behalf of Ambassador Designate Meyer Vos, pending the presentation of his credential to His Majesty the King of the Netherlands. Nevertheless, Ambassador Meyer Vos will be happy to directly engage with you in the very near future, as we have planned activities ahead besides what we are having today. It has been truly an honor and privilege to witness the strong enthusiasm from the Netherlands and Indonesia to this webinar. Under the initiative of the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in The Hague, with the collaboration of Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board, as well as Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we hope to promote a genuine awareness and solicit follow-ups or progressions of what has transpired after the visit of His Majesty the King of the Netherlands and Her Majesty the Queen of the Netherlands to Indonesia last March this year. For the benefit of those who are unaware, the visits culminated a historic significance in the ever-friendly relation between Indonesia and the Netherlands. It also paved way for $1 billion worth of investments through MOUs and other instruments in the areas such as maritime, business infrastructure, education, agriculture, port development, logistics, circular economy, water management, renewable energy, environmental management, life sciences, as well as healthcare. Nevertheless, at the height of our bilateral relation, we are also faced with the unprecedented challenges. The global pandemic. We wage war against the global pandemic in response not only for health security, but also economic security. It is true that the global pandemic battered our economies, and the world economies are now struggling to reopen. In the wake of this pandemic, this should not dampen for economic development and development endeavors. It is high time for us to wage plans for economic development in order for our two economies to rebound and get back on the track for the betterment of our two peoples. Under this purview, we are honored to have with us His Excellency Bahlil Lahadalia, Chairman of the Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board, Mr. Rosan Rosani, Chairman of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and other reputable speakers from Indonesia Chamber of Commerce and Industry to address us the ongoing development of our bilateral cooperation ever since the visit of His Majesty the King of the Netherlands and Her Majesty the Queen of the Netherlands to Indonesia, and to explore avenues to help realize in instrument of our bilateral cooperation. Another important topic to be discussed today is one of the special reform made by Indonesia. Indonesia has been taking great strides to boost foreign investment, ease of doing business, and grow Indonesia manufacturing base by introducing initiatives. One of the important reform initiatives is the enactment of Omnibus Law or Job Creation Law to eliminate statutory obstacles of investment. Since this is one of the newly reformed measures, we find it most appropriate that this topic be addressed to answer growing curiosity and concern. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, lifting up our spirits, we are elated today to be presented with two side events during this seminar. First, allow me to seize this opportunity to thank Indonesian lecturers who will be leading a platoon of international orchestra, namely Astramaya, based in the Netherlands, to serenade us Indonesian patriotic sounds of music. And second, I wish to thank a number of Indonesian companies for a virtual exhibition. This does not only promote a trade campaign in a modest intention, but also espouse a commercial spirit and display of jubilant recognition of entrepreneurial excellence. In concluding, allow me to welcome you once again to our modest webinar and hope all of you will enjoy fruitful discussion as we look forward in realizing instruments of our bilateral cooperation. I thank you.
Thank you for officially opening our program today, Mr. Deputy Chief of Mission. Today, I really feel honored to be able to meet the chairman of the Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board here in the Netherlands. Therefore, I would like to share my joy with you by inviting Your Excellency, Mr. Bahlil Lahadalia, to deliver his keynote speech. Your Excellency, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Yang saya hormati Bapak Dubes, Bapak Mayor Vas, Duta Besar RI untuk Kerajaan Belanda. Yang saya hormati Pak Fikri, yang tadi sudah menyampaikan poin-poin penting terkait dengan persoalan investasi di Indonesia, kaitannya dengan Belanda. Pak Rosan yang saya hormati, dan hadirin yang berbahagia.
Greetings, may peace be upon us all. His Excellency Bapak Mayor Vas, the Indonesian Ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Mr. Fikri Kasidi, Deputy Chief of Mission of the Indonesian Embassy in Den Haag, that has highlighted the pointers of updates from Indonesia earlier, Mr. Rosan Roslani, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Pertama saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada Pak Dubes yang sudah mengundang kami ke sini untuk menyampaikan beberapa hal penting terkait dengan perkembangan investasi dan juga adalah terkait dengan Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja.
First of all, I would like to thank our Indonesian ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, His Excellency Meyer Vas, that has invited me to come to this event so that I can share with you the updates from Indonesia about the Omnibus Law and other things.
Sedikit saya memberikan gambaran tentang pertumbuhan ekonomi di Indonesia dan Asia Tenggara, bahwa kita tahu pandemi COVID betul-betul memberikan sebuah dampak yang sangat luar biasa, baik dalam aspek kesehatan, ekonomi maupun sosial. Dan hari ini saya ingin menyampaikan bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi pada kuartal ketiga, khususnya di Asia Tenggara, itu kita lihat yang positif hanya Vietnam, kemudian Indonesia sendiri pada kuartal ketiga sekarang udah mulai menuju ke perbaikan, sekarang pada posisi minus 3,5, tapi ini masih jauh lebih baik ketika dibandingkan dengan Singapura, kemudian Malaysia dan Filipina.
Okay. First of all, let me share with you in touching the economic growth with regard to the pandemic we have starting this early year, that in ASEAN region, ASEAN countries has been contracted quite hard by the pandemic, and in Indonesia it also got affected that our economic growth contracted at minus 3.49, but our growth is still above other neighbor countries such as Vietnam and also Singapore. And the pandemic situation also affect the health and also social issues, not only in Indonesia, but also in other ASEAN regions.
Kami dari pemerintah Indonesia punya keyakinan bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi kita pada kuartal keempat itu sudah akan mengalami pada sebuah langkah yang positif, tidak lagi minus, karena diukur dari beberapa tren yang positif tentang foreign direct investment kita yang begitu positif, kemudian konsumsi sudah mulai bergairah, ekspor impor kita juga sudah mulai melihat tanda-tanda yang sangat positif. Sehingga pada kuartal keempat Indonesia akan mengalami suatu perubahan di mana pertumbuhan ekonominya akan insya Allah positif.
We are optimistic that in the fourth quarter, the number will show a better result, that our economic growth will show an improvement because we show the trend of the FDI, the number of consumption, also the trend of the export and import. That's why I'm optimistic that we will have a better result in the next fourth quarter of 2020.
Di aspek yang lain, kami juga ingin menyampaikan bahwa pertumbuhan realisasi investasi pada kuartal ketiga itu sudah mencapai 74,8% atau 611,6 triliun dari target investasi di 2020 sebesar 817,2 triliun.
So this is the number of the investment realization from January to September 2020, that the total investment realization reaches 611.6 trillion Indonesian rupiah, which contributes around 74.8% from the total target of 2020, which is 817.2 trillion Indonesian rupiah.
Di mana komposisi dari realisasi investasi tersebut, foreign direct investment kita atau PMA sebesar 301,7 triliun atau 49,3%, sementara penanaman modal dalam negeri itu sebesar 309,9 triliun atau sama dengan 50,7%. Di aspek yang lain, saya juga menyampaikan bahwa investasi yang berkualitas di Indonesia sudah semakin baik, di mana posisi tujuan investasi tidak hanya tumpuh kepada Jawa, di Pulau Jawa, tapi juga sudah mulai menyebar kepada luar Pulau Jawa. Ini membuktikan bahwa pembangunan infrastruktur 5 tahun kepemimpinan Pak Jokowi dengan Pak Yusuf Kalla sudah mulai terasa dalam konteks pertumbuhan ekonomi kawasan.
Okay, so the number of FDI contribution to our economy for the foreign direct investment reaches 301.7 trillion rupiah, or around 49.3%, while for the direct domestic investment, it reaches 309.9 trillion Indonesian rupiah, or contributes to 50.7%. And on another aspect, I would like to share with you that the distribution of investments not only now in Java Island, but also already touching the island outside Java. This is showing that under the administration of the President Joko Widodo and the Vice President, the investment realization now has been widespread to other regions outside Java Island.
Kami juga ingin menyampaikan bahwa kita tahu semua di hampir beberapa lembaga yang melakukan survei, lembaga dunia, bahwa terjadi penurunan foreign direct investment di hampir semua negara, kurang lebih sekitar 30 sampai dengan 40%. Namun di Indonesia itu turunnya tidak lebih dari 7%. Apa penyebabnya nanti saya akan bahas di slide berikutnya nanti.
Okay, and also we have read in the news and the global survey that the number of FDI declining worldwide is reaching around 30 to 40%, while the Indonesian FDI fell only by 7%.
Kami di Indonesia sudah memikirkan bagaimana pertumbuhan ekonomi bisa mencapai 6%. Syaratnya hanya satu. Bagaimana investasi kita dari 2019 sampai dengan 2024 itu harus mencapai kurang lebih sekitar 4.983,2 triliun. Kalau ini mampu terwujudkan, maka kami meyakini dan bisa memastikan bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi nasional kita akan di atas 6%.
Okay, now we aim to achieve our economic growth above 6%. Therefore, we really push hard to make the investment target for the next period can reach around 4.983.2 trillion Indonesian rupiah.
Karena itu saya punya keyakinan bahwa untuk teman-teman pengusaha baik dari Belanda maupun di mana saja, Indonesia adalah tempat yang paling empuk dan positif untuk melakukan investasi karena populasinya 43% dari total populasi penduduk Asia Tenggara dan mempunyai sumber daya alam yang sangat luar biasa.
Therefore, I have a quite strong confidence to assure the investors, foreign investors, and also domestic investors that Indonesia is the best location for you to do business because we have 3% of ASEAN population, and also we are rich in natural resources.
Terkait dengan investasi dari Belanda, ini sesuatu yang sangat luar biasa sekali. Pada tahun 2019 kemarin itu masuk pada 10 besar, bahkan dimasuk di urutan 6. Dan di 2020 sampai dengan bulan September itu total yang sudah masuk di Indonesia dari Belanda sebesar sekitar 100 triliun lebih, 120 triliun.
Okay, so for the year 2019, the Netherlands ranked 6th from the total foreign investors in Indonesia, while in 2020, from January to September 2020, the number of investment value coming from the Netherlands, according to our record, reaching around 1,020 billion US dollar.
Jadi kalau mau dihitung akumulasi dari 2015 sampai dengan 2020, sampai dengan bulan September, sekarang sudah mencapai 8.832 US dollar.
So if we look at the accumulation from the last 5 years until September 2020, so the number of investment value coming from the Netherlands to Indonesia reaching around 8.832.7 US dollar.
Dan kami pikir bahwa potensi yang sekarang menunjukkan bahwa setiap tahun terjadi kenaikan realisasi investasi dari Belanda ke Indonesia. Dan kita melihat bahwa kita dari Indonesia juga melakukan beberapa langkah-langkah dalam rangka meningkatkan kemudahan berusaha kita.
This number showing the increasing trend coming from the Netherlands, the Dutch investor to do business in Indonesia. Therefore, Indonesian government also taking a lot of efforts to improve our ease of doing business.
Sekarang kemudahan berusaha kita di tahun 2014 itu urutan 120 dan sekarang sudah masuk ke urutan 73. Namun perintah Bapak Presiden kepada kami sebagai institusi penanggung jawab untuk memperbaiki kemudahan berusaha pada tahun 2023 harus minimal di angka 40 atau 50 dunia urutan.
The Indonesia EODB has shown a significant improvement that back in 2014 that we were in rank 120, but now we are in number 73 in 2020. But this is showing a quite huge leap, the improvement in ease of doing business. But President Joko Widodo also giving instruction for us to always improve our ease of doing business, so that in 2020 we can achieve, we can be in number 40, around 45th.
Saya ingin memberikan slide gambaran bahwa ketika saya masuk sebagai Kepala BKPM pada bulan Oktober 2019, itu ada 708 triliun investasi mangkrak. Ini adalah sebuah jawaban kenapa foreign direct investment kita di 2020 sekalipun COVID itu hanya turunnya 7%. Jadi dari 708 triliun tersebut kita sudah mampu menyelesaikan sebesar 474,9 triliun atau 67%. Inilah jawaban kenapa realisasi investasi di Indonesia itu sekalipun COVID dampaknya tidak terlalu besar seperti negara-negara lain.
So when I first came to BKPM, I faced a lot of investment that has been put quite a long time because they face a lot of issues, and from the number of, but now from the number of 708 trillion rupiah, the investment realization potential that needs to be facilitated by BKPM, we have managed to facilitate around 474.9 trillion Indonesian rupiah. So that's why even during this pandemic situation, we still managed to have a surviving number of the FDI, even though the pandemic hit us quite hard.
Kami menyadari bahwa pada tahun-tahun kemarin, investasi mangkrak ini diakibatkan ada 3 hal besar. Yang pertama adalah terjadi ego sektoral antara kementerian lembaga yang ada pada negara kami tercinta. Yang kedua adalah aturan tumpang tindih antara kabupaten, kota, dan provinsi. Dan yang ketiga adalah persoalan lahan. Kalau 3 soal ini kita mampu menyelesaikan dengan baik, maka kami punya keyakinan bahwa prospek investasi di negara kita akan semakin membaik.
So there are 3 main problems that I think that Indonesia currently face. The first one is with regard to the ego coming from the line ministries and also institution. We call it sectoral ego. And also the second one due to the overlapped laws and regulations coming from the central and also from the regional government. And the last issue is with regard to the land.
Karena itu BKPM sekarang mulai melakukan penataan internal atas arahan Bapak Presiden lewat Impres nomor 7, harus betul-betul melayani para investor baik dari dalam maupun luar negeri. Tahapan ruang lingkup yang BKPM lakukan sekarang adalah yang pertama, melakukan promosi sampai di tingkat bagaimana para investor yakin untuk kemudian bisa masuk ke Indonesia. Yang kedua adalah mengawal perizinan. Jadi teman-teman para investor baik dari dalam maupun luar negeri, kalau mau melakukan usaha di Indonesia, serahkanlah izinnya kepada BKPM, nanti BKPM akan yang mengurus. Jangan datang kepada orang yang tidak jelas atau nanti akan membuat susah. Nanti muncul suatu langkah-langkah yang tidak menguntungkan. Yang ketiga adalah kita akan mengawal sampai dengan financial closing. Artinya apapun yang dibutuhkan oleh negara dalam konteks percepatan dan meyakinkan bagi pihak-pihak lembaga keuangan akan kita fasilitasi. Sampai dengan bagaimana kemudian kita mengawal sampai dengan konstruksi. Agar tidak boleh ada yang menghambat. Tidak boleh ada pungli. Ini semua kita lakukan dalam rangka memberikan jaminan kenyamanan bagi para pelaku usaha. Dan yang terakhir adalah ketika ada masalah, kita akan melakukan secara end to end. Sehingga saya yakin pengusaha juga akan merasa aman kalau ini kita lakukan.
So the presidential instruction number 7 of 2019 instructed BKPM and also places BKPM as the front line in accelerating the ease of doing business. And also we have developed the strategy to increase our investment realization by doing a kind of promotion activity to convince the investor that Indonesia is the best location for their investment. And also the second one is by assisting the licensing service. So just come to BKPM, we'll handle and assist you with all the necessary permits. Don't come to the wrong person, so you can just come to BKPM and we will handle the rest. And also the third strategy is by assisting you in getting the financial closing and even until construction. And we also provide you the end-to-end service to investors. So if you have a problem, just come to us, then we will help you to tackle the issues. And the last one is, of course, we will assist you until the production stage started.
Di dalam Impres nomor 7, instruksi Presiden nomor 7, untuk memudahkan bagi pelaku usaha, maka pendelegasian kewenangan izin usaha dari 22 kementerian lembaga sekarang dipusatkan semua ke BKPM, termasuk insentif fiskal. Kenapa ini dilakukan? Agar betul-betul memastikan bagi para pelaku usaha itu betul-betul untuk dapat dilayani. Sehingga jangan masuk ke tangan-tangan yang tidak bertanggung jawab. Kita pingin Indonesia akan berubah. Nanti saya akan menyampaikan tentang bagaimana Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja.
The presidential instruction put us as the front line in giving the investor the authorization of permits, that now we issue the business licensing and also we issue the tax incentive for you to do business in Indonesia. We got the delegation coming from the 22 ministries and institutions. And later I will share with you how the Omnibus Law is now implemented in Indonesia in order to provide a better climate for the investors.
Sekarang BKPM membuat klasifikasi prioritas sektor investasi. Di mana yang pertama adalah kita akan mendorong untuk di industri kesehatan. Pasar di Indonesia sangat besar dan kami juga baru sadar bahwa COVID ini membuat kita pelajaran besar di mana industri kesehatan kita, obat 90% masih impor dari luar negeri. Sekarang teman-teman yang mau investasi di bidang kesehatan, pemerintah membuka tangan lebar, akan memberikan dan memfasilitasi dan memberikan insentif, dan negara lewat peraturan presiden untuk mewajibkan memakai produk dalam negeri ketika industri ini dibangun.
So now we would like to boost investments in certain sectors, and one of them is on the health industry. That you know that we have a very large market, but currently we still importing around 90% from abroad with regard to the pharmacies and drugs. That's why we really want you to participate in doing investment in health industry, and government of Indonesia will provide the incentives for you to develop this kind of business.
Di samping kesehatan, kita juga mendorong energi baru terbarukan, kemudian infrastruktur, pertambangan, kemudian industri otomotif dan industri elektronik. Itu di luar dari beberapa hal yang sudah terjadi, seperti sektor perkebunan. Kita juga lagi mendorong agar bagaimana pembangunan kebun pala di Indonesia untuk mengembalikan kejayaan Indonesia dan Belanda khususnya di masa lampau. Saya pikir dan kita sudah mulai menggiring kepada investasi-investasi yang green. Jadi harus saya sampaikan pada kesempatan ini bahwa untuk pembangunan kebun sawit di Indonesia telah dilakukan moratorium. Jadi ini betul-betul kita pro pada lingkungan.
Also, we are focusing on other sectors such as energy, especially new and renewable energy, also infrastructure sector, automotive industry, and also mining, which creates a value-added product. And also, with regard to plantation sector, we are now focusing on the nutmeg industry because you know that we have a long history with nutmegs. That's why we would like to redevelop, we would like to rejuvenate our potential with regard to the nutmeg industry.
Saya memberikan satu contoh. Sekarang kita di Indonesia melakukan pelarangan ekspor ore nikel. Kenapa? Karena kami mempunyai keyakinan bahwa dengan melakukan hilirisasi industri baterai di Indonesia, maka kita akan memberikan satu cita-cita dunia untuk menuju kepada namanya green energy. Dan sekarang kita sudah tanda tangan kontrak dengan perusahaan dari China, Korea untuk membangun baterai di Indonesia.
Now we aim to focus on developing downstream industries that we would like to develop our natural resources to produce a kind of battery where we can focus as well on the green energy and in a sustainable manner. And we now have signed contracts with some companies coming from Korea, South Korea, and also China.
Dan kenapa ini dilakukan? Indonesia mempunyai cadangan 25% ore nikel dari total cadangan dunia. Dan 85% bahan baku untuk baterai mobil itu ada di Indonesia. Dan kita juga mempunyai pembangkit listrik tenaga air di Kayang kurang lebih sekitar 13.000 mega. Dan di Papua itu 23.000 mega. Dan ini adalah sebuah potensi yang besar untuk bagaimana kita bisa memberikan sumbangsi terbaik kita kepada dunia dalam konteks green energy.
Indonesia has around contributes to around 25% of the world's ore nickel reserve. And also we are the biggest contribution in terms of the raw materials to make a battery. We contribute to around 85% that the world reserve have located in Indonesia. Not only that, but we also have a potential to develop clean energy because we have a potential of 3,000 megawatt in Kayang and also in Papua around 23,000 megawatt. So these are a very huge potential for us to develop to the clean energy. Then Indonesia can contribute to make a global contribution to achieve the clean energy in the future.
Dan karena itu untuk bisa memudahkan para teman-teman yang melakukan investasi, Indonesia melakukan reformasi terhadap regulasi yang sangat revolusioner dengan undang-undang Omnibus Law yang sekarang sudah disahkan dan sudah ditandatangani oleh Bapak Presiden.
And now, because the Indonesian government would like to doing a reform in terms of its bureaucracy, now President Joko Widodo has officially signed the Job Creation Omnibus Law number 11 of 2020 on job creation.
Undang-undang ini kita tahu semua bahwa pengusaha itu membutuhkan kepastian, kecepatan, transparansi, dan efisien.
The objective of this law is to provide some necessary things for the investors that are the certainty, efficiency, transparency.
Di masa lampau, undang-undang yang ada di negara kami itu saling tumpang tindih. Akhirnya agak sedikit merepotkan bagi pelaku usaha dalam mengurus perizinan. Dengan undang-undang yang baru ini, memangkas semua birokrasi yang membuat panjang proses perizinannya. Di dalam Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja ini, semua perizinan berbasis elektronik dan lewat OSS, online single submission, dan pengelolanya adalah di BKPM. Jadi dengan Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja ini, para pengusaha itu betul-betul bisa terukur waktunya dan bisa terukur biayanya. Serta tidak ada lagi pungli-pungli. Jadi Indonesia sekarang sudah berubah dengan Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja ini.
As you probably aware of, maybe that previously Indonesia have quite a lot of overlapped laws and regulations, but now by having this omnibus law, that we are optimistic that we can cut all the red tapes, and omnibus law also mandates the issuing of the business licensing through the online single system that will be administered by BKPM. So by having this kind of system, the investor will have a certainty in terms of cost and timing.
Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja ini terdiri dari 186 pasal, 15 bab, dan 11 klaster. Hasil dari comotan 77 undang-undang. Ini semuanya ini dalam rangka sekali lagi memberikan kepastian, kemudahan, dan terukur bagi pelaku usaha.
The law contains about 15 chapters and 186 articles and revises around 77 previous law in various sectors through a single law that we call omnibus law. So the objective of this law is to provide certainty for the investors to do business in Indonesia.
Terkait dalam undang-undang ini, kalau ada isu tentang lingkungan yang konon katanya tidak berpihak, saya ingin mengatakan bahwa Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja ini betul-betul sangat pro kepada lingkungan. Sebab apa? Di dalam undang-undang ini AMDAL tetap diadakan, bahkan diketatkan. AMDAL sekarang sudah masuk dalam bagian perizinan. Dan kebijakan negara Indonesia, investasi yang ramah lingkungan. Jadi nggak benar kalau ada kelompok-kelompok lain yang mengatakan bahwa undang-undang ini tidak pro lingkungan. Justru dengan kehadiran undang-undang ini, maka masyarakat di sekitar lingkungan, di mana tujuan investasi itu dilakukan, akan juga dilibatkan, baik dalam proses pembuatan AMDAL maupun tingkat keterlibatan mereka dalam ekonomi di wilayah tersebut.
The omnibus law also focusing on the environmental issue, that this law is really pro to the environmental issue, that now the AMDAL, or we call it environmental permit, is now one of the licensing that needs to be obtained by the investor. And by having this law, the people around the location also will get involved in having and in developing the projects that the investor make in their area.
Bahkan dalam undang-undang ini, izin AMDAL ketika diberikan dan kemudian oleh perusahaan tersebut tidak taat dan tidak menjalankan apa yang ada dalam AMDAL, maka oleh pemerintah bisa melakukan proses pembatalan izin. Jadi ini lebih tegas. Kalau dulu orang melanggar AMDAL itu masih bisa proses lewat pengadilan. Dengan undang-undang ini bisa segera kita melakukan penegasan untuk memberikan sanksi. Maka ini adalah sebuah jawaban, undang-undang sebuah jawaban bagi seluruh masyarakat di dunia yang cinta akan lingkungan. Jadi tolong momentum kali ini saya harus katakan bahwa apa yang dilakukan oleh kelompok-kelompok tertentu yang menyatakan bahwa undang-undang ini tidak pro lingkungan agar jangan dipercayai, alias bahasa Indonesia istilah Indonesia itu hoax. Nah.
So if someone violates the AMDAL, the environmental permit, the government of Indonesia can just revoke the permit and also provide fine for those who violate the AMDAL. So don't trust anyone or certain groups that says that the omnibus law is a contra to the environmental issue. We are really pro in tackling all the environmental issue. So don't trust the groups that saying that this omnibus law is not pro to the environmental issue.
Yang kedua menyangkut dengan tenaga kerja. Di dalam Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja itu betul-betul memberikan ruang untuk tenaga kerja sebanyak-banyaknya kepada tenaga kerja dalam negeri. Karena perintah Bapak Presiden Jokowi yang diterjemahkan dalam undang-undang tersebut bahwa setiap investasi yang masuk, yang mana menciptakan lapangan pekerjaan harus dimaksimalkan untuk anak-anak Indonesia mengambil bagian dalam proses menjadi tenaga kerjanya. Karena undang-undang ini salah satu tujuannya, latar belakangnya adalah bagaimana menciptakan lapangan pekerjaan sebanyak-banyaknya di Indonesia.
With regard to the labor issue, this omnibus law highlights that we would like to provide as much as job opportunities for Indonesian people.
Nah, untuk tenaga kerja asing yang akan masuk ke Indonesia, itu tetap seperti yang ada dalam Undang-Undang Tenaga Kerja. Hanya pada level-level manajer dan yang mempunyai skill. Selain dari itu, tidak dimungkinkan untuk diberikan izin masuk. Jadi biar clear, jangan sampai ada kesan lagi. Saya pernah membaca satu artikel yang menyatakan bahwa ini tidak berpihak pada pekerja dalam negeri. Ini juga suatu hal yang keliru.
And by having this omnibus law, we also make a limit on how foreign workers can get involved in a company in Indonesia. Only for certain location that they can be recruited, such as manager and also skilled positions. So we put a limitation for the foreign workers to work in Indonesian company because we are also considering using the Indonesian local workers.
Jadi undang-undangnya tetap kuat, cuman birokrasinya yang tahapannya yang kita undurin. Jadi AMDAL-nya yang selama ini membuat AMDAL itu 1 tahun, kita buat 1 bulan. Biar cepat atau maksimal 2 bulan. Begitupun izin yang lainnya. Saya pikir ini yang penting terkait dengan undang-undang Omnibus Law.
We also simplify the process. For example, with regard to AMDAL or environmental permit, it used to be taking about 1 year, but now we fasten it to only 1 to 2 months only that you can get the AMDAL. So those are the important things that I would like to highlight with regard to the Omnibus Law.
Terakhir dari pemaparan saya ingin mengundang para teman-teman pengusaha dari Belanda atau dari mana saja. Di Indonesia sekarang menyiapkan kawasan industri Batang. 5 tahun kita kasih gratis sebagai bentuk kehadiran negara dalam rangka memudahkan para investor. Siapa yang mau masuk di Batang, izinnya akan disiapkan oleh negara. Dengan slogan, silakan datang bawa teknologi, bawa modal. Biarkanlah negara lewat BKPM yang akan mengurus izinnya dan akan memberikan tanah 5 tahun gratis. Ini adalah pertama langkah revolusioner yang dilakukan oleh kebijakan Bapak Presiden Jokowi untuk bagaimana bisa bekerja sama dengan seluruh investor dengan saling menguntungkan kedua belah pihak. Demikian, terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua.
Lastly, I would like to invite the Dutch investors and also investors coming from other countries to invest in Indonesia. And now we have developed the Batang Integrated Industrial Park in Central Java, where Indonesian government will provide you a 5-year free of charge with regard to the land. So the government of Indonesia will provide the licensing and permits. So the investor just need to bring the technology and capital, while the rest, the land, the permit will be handled by BKPM. So this KIT Batang is the first breakthrough that we really would like to attract investors coming to Indonesia, and this is instructed by President Joko Widodo, so that both Indonesian people and also the investors who do business in Indonesia can get the mutual benefits by doing business in Indonesia.
Terima kasih.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your very sharp and enlightening speech. There are great steps being made, we can see. Next, I would like to bring you to Indonesia. I trust that I am not the only one here that is missing Indonesia. I think the people here in the room and at home, that we are very happy to see Indonesia again very soon. By watching the recording of the videos on the performance of Orchestra Gesek Astramaya, you will see some very nice travel pictures and I think we can enjoy. OGA, Orchestra Gesek Astramaya, is an international string orchestra focusing on Indonesian repertoire based in Europe, and was founded by the classical pianist and music pedagogue Patrick Weinhammer. Indonesian repertoire is the beating heart of OGA. The orchestra takes pride taking the honor and opportunity to perform music that testifies the strength and the spirit of Indonesia. By sharing their heroic, national, and legendary folklore musical works from Sabang until Merauke, and from Miangas until Rote Island to the world, and making them resound loudly far beyond their borders. Well, I hope you enjoyed this piece of music as much as I did. The boy that you saw who was playing the violin solo, his name is Marcel Suteja, and he was the winner of Super Kids the Netherlands in 2019. Now I would like to show you 3 videos of Indonesian high-quality products, namely Batak Fractal, Indo Food, and Javanico. Just to give you a bit of a sneak peek, this is a product of their Batik Fractal, a really nice mask, which we are wearing right now, which is very handy to walk around. Please, I would like to welcome you and look at the videos.
What's the secret recipe of a warm, happy family? A blend of love and a pinch of laughter? One thing is certain, for millions of families, home is where the heart is. A place where ICBP shares love with so many lives every day by delivering a diverse range of tasty and nutritious products with love and commitment. Our noodles' modern factories have the capacity to produce over 16 billion packages of noodles every year. Our instant noodles are known as one of the best for quality and taste in the world. Our diverse portfolio, including a variety of brands and flavors of instant noodles, caters to all market segments. We also develop entrepreneurship skills and knowledge through our various programs for small vendors of instant noodles. Together with our consumers, we celebrate life. Over time, through the generations, we have nourished people with our nutritious dairy products. From delicious and healthy milk products to mouth-watering ice cream. Growing together with our partners, we always strive to meet the highest quality standards. With the passion of our people and partners, we serve joy to our consumers. The wide range of our snack products provides options for consumers to select their preferred companion any moment, anytime, anywhere. We serve the goodness in life to everybody, through generations. The well-being of our partners is very close to our heart. We continuously strive to improve their life. Made only from the freshest and best ingredients, products from our food seasonings division complete the cooking needs of almost every Indonesian home and dining table. Sprinkle a bit of spice and sweetness into their life in so many ways, with a wide range of seasonings and syrups. Our passion is not only to deliver best quality products, but also to enhance the health and nutrition of mums and toddlers. We travel from one village to the next, giving them the knowledge they need for a better life and a brighter tomorrow. Upholding the highest standards in the industry and at the same time delivering tasty and nutritious products to our consumers is a commitment for our growing nutrition and special foods division. Our beverage division quenches the thirst of our consumers with excellent quality mineral water, ready-to-drink tea and coffee, carbonated soft drinks, and fruit-flavored drinks. We preserve the quality of our products inside our high-quality packaging made in our own packaging facilities. ICBP appreciates the continuous support from our consumers and the communities where we operate. Giving back to the community by improving their lives is our way to express our gratitude. No matter where you are, anytime, any moment, any place, life would be carefree if your days start here.
Indonesia kaya akan alam, terutama rempah, termasuk kopi. Dan kopi di Bondowoso bagi saya baik. Saya punya impian serta keyakinan bahwa kopi Indonesia baik di mata dunia. Tanaman kopi ini di samping menghasilkan, juga bisa mengangkat taraf hidup orang lain. Terutama petani kopi yang saya bina. Yang awalnya penghasilan mereka minim, dengan berkebun kopi, penghasilan mereka jadi bertambah. Dan saya bersyukur kerjasama kami dari awal sampai sekarang berjalan sangat baik. Terutama waktu panen seperti saat ini. Kami bisa membeli kualitas kopi dari mereka dengan kriteria yang kami inginkan. Tentunya dengan harga yang terbaik pula. Artinya semua harus diuntungkan. Jadi ada kuning tidak boleh. Kuning pokoknya merah saja. Adapun manfaat lain dari tanaman kopi ini tidak hanya berdampak pada manusia. Alam serta lingkungan juga ikut terjaga, terutama dari erosi seperti tanah longsor maupun banjir bandang. Dari hasil proses yang baik, maka kita akan bisa bersaing tentunya dengan negara-negara pengekspor kopi dunia seperti Amerika, Costa Rica, Kenya, Kolombia, Vietnam tentunya. Karena apa? Kita yakin, terutama saya pribadi, yakin bahwa kopi Indonesia, terutama Jawa Timur, Bondowoso, bisa bersaing dengan produk-produk ekspor di negara-negara penghasil kopi. Harapan dan keyakinan saya ke depan yakin bahwa kopi kita akan bisa bersaing dengan negara-negara pengekspor kopi lainnya.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in one of these products, please contact the Economic Department of the Indonesian Embassy in The Hague. Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, our next program is a presentation and discussion on the Indonesian Law Number 11, 2020 on job creation. The session will consist of presentation followed by discussion led virtually by Mr. Theo Lekatumpesi as moderator. Mr. Lekatumpesi, the screen and floor is yours.
Thank you, Andika. Goedemorgen, dames en heren. Ik ben Theo van KADIN Benelux. Selamat sore dan menjelang petang untuk bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu hadirin sekalian yang berada di Indonesia. His Excellency Pak Bahlil, Pak Mayervas, and I see just now Ambassador Nicholas van Dam, who was ever assigned in Indonesia. The Honorable Pak Fakhri, Ibu Sinta, and distinguished guests. May I go directly to the main menu? There's 2 points which I'm going to share with you before we start with the discussions. The first one, may I just summarize what Pak Bahlil just sharing with us, that the new Omnibus Law is comprised of 11 clusters. And from the 11 clusters, 8 clusters is more related to the easy doing business in Indonesia. The rest 4 is related to research, related to SME, and related to employment and sanctions. So today we have 2 prominent speakers. The first speakers will be Ibu Cinta Kamdani. She is Vice Chairman of KADIN, who is handling the international matters. She will present her thought or view about the Omnibus Law at the perspective of the Indonesian businessman. And second speaker is Mr. Theo Bakker, who is a very prominent lawyer from ABNR law firm, who is going to share his tip to the Dutch investors if they are going to enter Indonesia to invest under umbrella of Omnibus Law, especially at the industry of maritime, water, and agriculture, to make it make the time more efficient. So I give the floor to Ibu Cinta Kamdani. Be my guest, Bu Cinta.
Thank you, Pak Theo. Good afternoon to you all. I think it's the time there is, I would assume, in the afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit on what's happening, updating from Indonesia for the biggest ever reform, structural reform in Indonesia, which is the law of the job creation. So this is a work of 8 months of our government, and I have to say that it's a very bold move. I mean, we've been talking about structural reform in Indonesia forever. And finally, this comes out and has been ratified by our legislative. So, of course, for business, we have a very delighted to see the issuance of this law, because we have been waiting for this kind of scale of reform from Indonesia. And if you see, of course, the current condition, it's happening everywhere in the world, including in Holland as well. We have seen that COVID has very much impacted many businesses. So I think it's timely to have this omnibus, or what we call the law of job creation now, because it will help and assist company in its transformation, especially when we are now going through the recovery of the economy. So this would really help and accelerate the process of recovery of businesses in Indonesia. So it was mentioned, I think, by Pak Bahlil, our coordinating investment promotion investment BKPM, that actually the key element of this law is basically giving first a more certainty to, of course, our foreign investors as well as local investors. But most important also is in improving Indonesia investment climate, because as you will see later, it will definitely also impact our competitiveness in doing business. Next, so if we see here the economic transformation, Bahlil mentioned about the over regulation. Yes, we have a lot of regulations and licensing that are overlapping, but not only that, we also have a lot of regulations that and licenses that are not consistent between the central government and the regional government. So this has been a very much an issue in doing business in Indonesia. And of course, some of this area that's mentioned will really help Indonesia in attracting more investment, but also by Indonesia to create more jobs. As you know, in right now, due to COVID, we have to terminate and lay off many people. And we really in a desperate need of creating more jobs. Also, I think the purpose on the national economy is for its growth, equality, protection, and competitiveness, so that we can reach the goal of becoming one of the biggest economy in the world in 2045. So if we look at some of the area, how is this impacted very much in terms of the business as well? Next. We have seen that in Indonesia, our biggest problem actually, you have seen here that the labor force structure. If we see here, majority actually of our labor is in informal sector, not the formal sector. So right now, actually, the number is increased. It used to be about 55% in the informal sector, and the number since COVID has increased significantly. One of the most important, every year we have to create about 2.7 to 3 million jobs. And with the unemployment that now with COVID already stay about 9 to 10 million, imagine how many jobs that we need to create. And this is really one of our biggest challenge. The second also is increasing its productivity, because a lot, as you know, in Indonesia, when we talk about employment, it's not just about minimum wage, it's also about productivity. And this, of course, the productivity right now, Indonesia stands, as far as competitiveness is concerned, still below some of our ASEAN countries. So this is the problem that we need to really improve our productivity. And one of the main issue of this omnibus is, of course, the human capital development as well. And the third aspect is, of course, increasing investment. I mentioned before. What is important is increasing actually quality of investment. Our ICOR right now stands still high, about 6.2. That means for every trillion investment rupiah that we attract, actually we create in 2016 about 2,600 jobs. But today, we only create about 1,200 jobs. So there's been a drop for every trillion investment that we attract. That means we attract more these days, also capital intensive instead of labor intensive jobs. And this is very crucial, because Indonesia have a bonus demography. And with technology and automations, I think we need to clearly say that the bonus of democracy, we don't want this to be a liability. So I think it's very, very important that we attract the right kind of investment as well. And of course, empowering our MSME and cooperative. I think we all know Indonesian business, 97% is SME, and thus with actually the crisis in 2008, actually they're the backbone of our economy, and it really helps having them at that time to support the economic growth. But now actually they also one of the impacted the most, and this is why we need to really have a better ecosystem to improve our SME. So definitely as business, the SME will be very much supported by having this job creation law. And I think most important is Indonesia needs to come out from this middle income trap. I think that's really a key. So Pak Bahlil mentioned a little bit about the content of the omnibus law, and there's 11 clusters, and out of the 11 clusters, we have improvement in investment ecosystem and business activities. We also have employment, ease protection and empowerment MSME, ease of doing business, support research and innovation, land procurement, economic zone, central government investment and ease of national strategic project, implementation of government administration to support job creation, sanctions. So we have 11 clusters. Now, what I'm trying to do now is to share with you those clusters that very much impacted businesses, especially foreign investors such as you all. So there are 4 clusters that I will highlight, and maybe later also we can have more discussion on this. So the first on the improvement of ecosystem for investment and business activities, actually the concept that is very important. As you know, Indonesia right now are using already electronic system of licensing, what we call the online single submission. But unfortunately, this is not as effective because the regional licenses are not integrated into the central government licenses. So this is a big problem, and thus there has to be harmonization on both regulation and licensing from the regional going together with the central government. And the way it's done now, the licensing is based on risk-based approach. So risk-based approach, depending on whether that's low risk, medium risk, or high risk. And simplification of basic requirements of business licensing. I think this is really key, that the whole purpose is to simplify the license. And this includes the suitability of spatial use activities, environmental permit, and construction permit. And also the simplification and ease business licensing. It's also included in a number of different sectors based on what we call the norm, standard, procedure, and criteria. So each now sector has to follow all the regional licenses, also have to follow the NSPK to be harmonized to the central government. Next. So if we look at this, what is the risk-based approach business license? Actually, this risk-based approach has been best practices in a number of countries. So we used to have a more licensed approach in Indonesia, but now we can look from licensed approach, we move more to the risk-based approach, and depending on the risk assessment for a particular project. Now, the simplification also includes, I mentioned before, the location permit. And we are now following a more integrated spatial planning and zoning plans, including, finally, we have what we call the one map policy. So we are following one map, which is going to be very it's going to be easier as a base to issue the location permits. The environmental permit, I think, was mentioned also by Pa Bahlil. So the importance is it's more of easing the licensing, but also tightening the supervision. While the licensing are now based on the risk, but still the health and safety as well as environment is still a priority. So it doesn't mean that project does not follow that. So it has to be clear that the health, safety, and environment is still a priority in all project in issuance its permit. And the building permit is also now is going to be much easier because it's going to be risk-based. So the one that's a very low risk does not have to go through all the procedure such as what is happening now. And again, the timing, because before, I think the timing, it's very unlimited time. You don't know when license are actually going to be issued. With the online single submission now, which is all now going to be integrated, there's also a timeline in terms of when a licensing will have to be issued. And if there is the timeline is not followed, then the license by itself will be already approved. So I think this is very clear in terms of the time. And the second aspect also is reducing physical meet with government officials. So actually for foreign investors, it's going to be much easier if everything can be done electronically, because you will of course lessen all this under table money and so forth and fees that are required because everything will be done with less physical meet. And this also included on all sectoral business licensing. So this also the AGBA approach. So each of the 15 sector that is on the right side, I don't know whether you can see it, but all the 15 sectors, including agriculture, transportation, and so forth, all are now being aligned because before there are many laws that's against and in contradictory. So now it's all being aligned, including also trade, tourism, health, construction, transportation, telecommunication, and many others. So there's 15 sectors. So the impact of implementing risk-based assessment in low-risk business activities. So it's a licensed approach based on how before the license approach, that's the way how you have to do it. It's a very long and lengthy process, but now with the risk approach, it's going to be much easier in doing the licensing. On the next part that I wanted to share with you is on investment requirement. Finally, Indonesia will not have the negative investment list anymore, and we will prioritize the priority list. This is very big thing for businesses, because I think, as you know, especially for foreign investors, this has hindered many investment is coming in because it's not open. And now there's only 6 businesses that are closed, which is in narcotics, gambling, fishing of species, utilizing natural coral, chemical weapons, ozone. So only these 6. The rest are basically open. Next. So if we see here, it's going to be quite a big reform, because originally we have 20 closed and 495 open with requirements, or a total about 515. And with this law, we will perhaps will cut it all together to a very low double digit. And the one that will protect is only mainly the small, medium enterprises, and in the financial sectors that are still open with requirement, but most of the sectors will be open fully. And this will, I think, be a very major attraction for many of the foreign investors as well. I will touch also a little bit on employment. On the employment side, as you know, Indonesia, actually competitiveness has always been put as on this aspect as well. And actually at the moment, Indonesia is has the second highest severance pay in the world. So this become a hinder also for a lot of investors in wanting to invest in Indonesia. So I'm just going to go through very quickly that on the employment side, I think what is important is that is going to be a better consistency in terms of how employment works. I think the law number 13 has been very much outdated, and government has been trying to revise this for a long time. So finally, it's here now. And as you know, there's been a shift of jobs also today. I mean, there's more people requiring digital spectrum. People will need to be working more on flexible working hours and so forth, which are not addressed in the previous law. So many of these things will be much better for also labor to have all these different following the new regulations. And also, I think what's important is the basic protection is not impacted. So I think that is the basic human rights protection is still there. But I think the rules, I think, make it, of course, easier to follow, because the basis of the understanding and the fundamental principles to be more competitive as well. So if you see on the employment, I think the severance pay will be reduced significantly. Today, before it was about 32 times maximum, and now we have about 25 times. And also for the first time, government is introducing a special job loss guaranteed program. So those that lost his job can be also covered by the government by giving not just cash, but also training, also market and a job placement. So this is something that is very new and very good for labor. And I think some of the aspect that I wanted to touch also on minimum wage, which is another one that has been a very big concern. The minimum wage, as you know, in Indonesia, in various different provinces has different minimum wage. In Central Java, that was mentioned by our BKPM coordinator, is actually one of the lowest in Central Java. But what will happen? What's important is that minimum wage is now it has its base formula, so very, very consistent. And the base formula is on inflation or economic growth of the particular area of the province. So I think this will give a much better, it's more fair and a much better consistency for investor to know and how they can project to the future. And also, if we look at what is important now is on the expatriate placement plan. I think this is what many, as you know, on the expat permit require quite a rigorous procedure, but now they simplify it. And for those, for example, sitting as a directors or commissioners in companies now are able to come in without any expatriate placement plan. So they can go directly without any specific expat permit. And also, if we look at some of the emergency, like you have for repairing equipment and so forth, that can also be done. So there's any special exceptions to the rule. And like I mentioned, it addressed also some of what we call the working hours, the hourly working hours and so forth, which was not addressed in the previous law, including contract. As you know, contract also was very big issues in Indonesia, and now it's also being simplified and followed. So on ease of doing business, I think some of the items that clearly said is on immigration, on patent, this is all improvement, including on taxation. So on taxation specifically is addressing, of course, a much better incentive as well for businesses, because right now we will constitute more on territorial instead of global, and this really helps for businesses, as well as addressing also both the income tax and value added tax, as well as the administrative tax, which is going to be also done mostly on digitally. I also want to mention the special economic zone. I think Pak Bahlil also mentioned about this as well, and I think this is going to be much easier for foreign investors as well as local investors, because we have economic zones that are ready, and including land procurement and so forth. You don't have to go into that hassle because it's going to be done already within the economic zone, and investor can go directly. A lot of the licensing can be done by them directly, and it's going to be much easier for companies to invest and come in and set up their production facilities. So this is some of investment incentive to boost industrial sector. On the business expansion, we have the tax allowance, exemption of relief of import duty and capital goods, and then property tax relief. I mean, there are many things. Also tax holidays for pioneer industries. We have this again, also incentive on the tax incentive on the special economic zone, industrial zone. And I think e-commerce specifically also are addressed to boost the industrial sector. Also, we have bonded logistics center, and I think this will help many of the sectoral in companies in these sectors to have the PLB facility aim to definitely improve efficiency, transportation, and logistics. So I think this is part of what we do in Indonesia as the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We are also facilitating to help companies come to Indonesia and find local partners. I think many companies wants to have a local partner. So we have a unit also in the chamber that specifically does business matching. We also support the government in promoting both trade and investment. I think many of the, I'm sure many of you will have questions, and sometimes you want to hear it directly from businesses rather than from government. So this is where, why we are here. And of course, now everything is done virtually. We are ready to do that. Of course, we cannot also bring delegation now these days due to COVID, and we cannot, delegation doesn't come also to Indonesia, but I think many meetings can still be done virtually like this. So I look forward. I think we will have to continue working together between Indonesia and the Dutch businesses, and I think we are ready to continue our cooperation and enhance more economic and bilateral engagement with many of you businesses now there. So I look forward for more discussion later, but I don't know whether the time will, it seems like time is very limited, but I hope if not, then I will be, ready to please contact us at any time, and to be, able to address through also email or any communication. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bu Sinta, for a great presentations. Bu Sinta, may I ask you just one question in one sentence? What is your impressions as KADIN and as a businesswoman toward the new omnibus law, which you want to share with the participant?
I think for us, this is an opportunity to really look at Indonesia's competitiveness. As you know, Pateo, many times we have been lagging behind some of our neighbors because we cannot attract investment due to a lot of the issues and problems, challenges that we face in Indonesia. So I think this law really create the pick up of the the reform that we are talking about, that we really needed. But I think what is important and that everybody needs to address is that we are still waiting for the implementing regulations. The things about Indonesia is many good policies. Sometimes the execution is quite poor. So right now, what we're doing is we are ensuring that the law will be really translated into implementing regulation that will be executable, and we are now working with government to ensure that this is actually happening. So the government has about 3 months for the implementations, and based on that, we will see. I think my impression, of course, the law we need it badly, so it's good. We are very much, like I said, very delighted, very optimistic. But again, we have to see the implementing regulation and the execution of the regulation on the ground. I think that's what very, very important to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Sinta. You are passed with a summa cum laude. So, ladies and gentlemen participants, before I move to Pak Theodore Bakker, may I just remind all of you again, in case you have a question or questions, you are very welcome to send it through the chat. And also I have to inform, maybe Bu Sinta have to leave the discussion in 30 minutes. So if she might not be able to answer it, maybe I can proceed your questions or other questions by emails, and we might come back to you to reply everything. Besides that one, maybe I worried also that Pak Iqmal, the deputy of BKPM, is here. He might be able also to answer some questions. Again, thank you, Bu Sinta, for excellent presentations. And I move now to Pak Theodore Bakker. Please share your wisdom, Pak Theo. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Pateo, for your kind introduction, and thanks, Ibu Shanti, for an excellent presentation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, in Europe, and good evening here in Asia. My name is Theodore Bakker. I am the Senior Foreign Counsel at Ali Budiarjo Nugroho Rexuri Putro, and I've been in Indonesia since, I must think now, I think it was 1984 that I first came. And so over the years, I've been able to look at Indonesia's foreign investment policies. And this is definitely the year that I am most excited about the developments. It's a privilege for me to share our knowledge at ABNR. And in view of the nature of the omnibus law, but also in view of the completeness of Ibu Shinta's presentation, my approach will be more holistic. I will look at the elements of the omnibus law to the extent that they are important for foreign investors. and particularly for investors from the Netherlands. I will be discussing, therefore, concepts and characteristics rather than details. However, if you have specific questions at the end of my presentation, you can write to me an email and I'll be very happy to respond to that free of charge, of course. Our office at ABNR publishes almost on a weekly basis updates on where the implementing regulations on the omnibus law get published. And that is also a very welcome source of information. Good. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes, what is the omnibus law? It is the most ambitious and all-encompassing, wide-ranging legislation, actually since the Indonesian Civil Code more than 170 years ago. It amends and repeals almost 80 laws covering virtually all major economic sectors and many key aspects of governmental regulation and planning systems. And of course, it's intended to accelerate Indonesia's economic growth, especially to attract more foreign investment. Next slide, please. It's complicated. Legislation is always complicated, but this is particularly complicated because of the vast size of the job and the requirement for each and every change made in one law having to correspond to the other parts of the Indonesian legal system. It also covers sensitive sectors, including workers' protection, and it really requires knowledge of the entire legal system and the entire number of laws that are being amended if you really want to have a good grip of what's happening in respect of each investment sector. For the Dutch investors and for any foreign investors, it addresses the problem of overlap and lack of consistency by enabling the central government to set standards and criteria for ministerial level and municipal and provincial regulations. So what you will see in theory, but I think the law makes an excellent effort at establishing that the local, municipal and provincial regulations will address a certain issue exactly the same way as the central government does. And that would be a major improvement on the situation that we've had sometimes before, where local investors or investors, foreign investors that invested in the localities, whether it's in Bali or in East Java, were faced with a different interpretation of the licensing requirements as they were used to in Jakarta. So that for me is one of the major points that foreign investors see as a definite benefit under the omnibus law. Next slide, please. Can we have the next slide? Ooh, my slides have gone. Let's see if they come back. I was going to go to slide number 4. Well, why don't I start going in order for us not to lose time? My next question, which I wanted to discuss with you, is why was an omnibus law necessary in the first place? And there's a couple of reasons that I want to bring forward to you. First is that the House of Representatives endorsed the omnibus bill, what it was then, in view of the somewhat limited success of almost 20 preceding reform packages launched since 2015. And with the new government being in place, there was a fresh start to do it all once at the same time. it would have taken decades to amend and replace the 80 or so laws and regulations through conventional lawmaking. It is a revolutionary across-the-board cleaning up exercise and akin to the financial Big Bang liberations that some of you may remember happened in the financial sector in the UK in 1980. There we're back again with the slides. Good. Can I have the next slide? I really should go back to hear it from the horse's mouth, if I may say so, and use that expression. President Joko Widodo has himself given the 4 basic primary goals, and that is to provide as many jobs as possible, to eliminate red tape, to support prevention and eradicate corruption, and to standardize service levels from local government. And it was good to hear earlier today from His Excellency Ambassador Bahlil that indeed that those objectives are also shared by the officials that must implement the law. Good. Next, please. There are a few caveats that Ibu Shanti has also, Shinta has also, excuse me, Ibu, referred to, because the omnibus law, as it currently stands, lays the foundations for change. But the actual bricks and mortar must be put in place later by ancillary and implementing regulations. And that involves 35 government regulations and 5 presidential regulations that will need to be issued to put the omnibus law into full effect. 3 months is the deadline, and we're all very positive and hopeful that that will be achieved. So we have a long road ahead. Interdepartmental harmonization and synchronization will very much determine whether this 3 months deadline is actually being realized. And as I say, all the hopes are very high-strung by practitioners in Jakarta. Good. The next slide, please. Various attempts, and that's another caveat that I should make, are being made to seek for a review of the omnibus law in courts. We've all known that certain sectors of the Indonesian society have not all been positive about all of the aspects of this law, and indeed there are 2 claims being made in the judicial review process at the Constitutional Court. The success of the ultimate impact will depend on the quality of the implementing regulations. Again, I'm probably repeating myself, but the effort will be focusing on synchronization and interdepartmental cooperation and the consistencies of the regulations that are being prepared. Next slide, please. I've just highlighted a few of the important chapters that are part of the omnibus law. And Ibu Shinta has already brought those forward. But you can see by looking at these where the focus of the government has been. Labor takes a very high priority. The cooperatives, the micro and small and medium-sized enterprises finally get the importance that many had hoped would be forthcoming. Ease of doing business is, of course, the main pillar of the omnibus law, and the others that you see here have also been given wide interest in the omnibus law. Next, please. We've already seen earlier this morning what the changes in business licensing, the risk-based approach, that indeed changes the paradigm from blanket licensing, where almost all economic activities require a license, as under the negative list so far in place, will be replaced by a very more selective risk-based license. So the idea here is that an investor who comes to Indonesia looks at his own investment and can beforehand, before he actually starts applying the procedures, can already determine by self-assessment, or at least by self-determination, how his investment will be viewed by the Indonesian authorities. And there are four categories. The first one is low-risk business. They only need to register the business identification number. Next slide, please. Medium to low-risk business, medium to high-risk business, and high-risk business. They each require a further step in the severity and seriousness of the license required. Next, please. Now, the other major change that the Omnibus Law brings about, especially for foreign investors, is the ease of doing business, a significant relaxation of foreign direct investment restrictions. First, the abolishment of the requirement to acquire a location permit, which was always a bit of a gamble depending on which province you were applying for, because there was no consistency in the application of the location permit requirements. The negative list is abolished, and that is something that is for foreign investors who have been in Indonesia for some time, probably the most significant turnaround in Indonesia's investment regime. When I arrived in Indonesia in 1984, there was already a certain form of a negative list, and the 30 years since then have always been for the foreign investors a period that they were really waiting for the negative investment list to go. And we think we are there, again, with the same caveat that's been made before. It may be gone, but let's see and have a look at the priority investment list, under which these 6 sectors are fully closed, but the remaining sectors are stated as being open for foreign investment. As has been said before various times this morning, the twist is in the tail. We have to see what's in the implementing regulations before we can make the final analysis. But on the basis of what we've seen so far, most advisors and most law firms that I've talked to are very much impressed by this initial successful establishment of a new investment regime. Next, please. Yes, procedures for environmental approvals, construction licenses, and the function feasibility certificate are amended and simplified. And as Ambassador Bahlil Lahadalia just mentioned, or His Excellency, I beg your pardon, direct action against perpetrators will be possible right now. So there's no need for the government to go to a court. Certain investment activities are reserved for the central government, public service, security and defense, including flight navigation and telecommunication and navigation for shipping. And this includes this is included in the chapter where the new sovereign wealth fund that you may have read about is taken care of. Next, please. Okay, we've already briefly looked at what are the restrictions for foreign national employment, important for foreign investors, because under the investment law, they have the right to appoint their own representatives on the board of directors of the companies in which they invest. there is the requirement of an IMTA is removed. The requirement for RPTKA remains, but the exemption from RPTKA is possible in the five situations that you see on the screen. Next, please. Okay, I've been asked to do 1 or 2 or 3 specific industries where there is already some clear results of the advantage of the new law for investors. And I know the horticulture industry is one that has a significant interest from Dutch investors. So I thought I'd have a look at that, and specifically the seeds business. You can see here the 5 most important changes that the omnibus law brings in. It removes the 30% foreign ownership cap. It reduces expatriate employment restrictions. Seeds will now be capable of being imported in many more cases than used to be the case. And the norms and standards and procedures from central government licensing will also now apply to local licensing. Next, please. There used to be in the horticultural law a requirement for large-scale business actors to establish a partnership with micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. That's gone. And also what's gone is the domestic producers as recipients of interns and transfers of technology. Next, please. Moving to another sector where I know there is Dutch interest, the key changes in the maritime sector. In particular relating to foreign flagged vessels for special operations. The omnibus law generally retains the status quo. Also, cabotage policies are maintained, but there are exemptions that are being introduced for foreign vessels that conduct specialized operations in Indonesian waters. Now, there is a general blanket exemption currently in place, but that expires, I believe, in this month or the next month, and it is hoped that the omnibus law will actually make that exemption permanent under the law rather than under specific regulations. Finally, in that sector, the requirement to appoint an Indonesian shipping company as agent is also being liberated. Next, please. That's it. I thought I'd keep my number of slides limited so that there would be more opportunity for discussion, more opportunity for questions. So if you have any questions, you can either note down my email address here and send them to me. I'm very happy to try to answer them, or we can indeed discuss them here now, depending on how much time Pateo gives to us. Thank you.
Fantastic, Pateo. Thank you very much, Pateo. It's a fantastic presentations. So before I proceed and giving the time to the MC, do you have any message or any advice in a very short sentences to the Dutch investor who is going to enter or who are already entering Indonesia, Pateo? May you share your wisdom, please?
Yes, I have one message is that if there ever was a good time to invest in Indonesia, this is it. And I realize that other circumstances make life difficult for us, the COVID and the restrictions on travel. But as far as legislation is concerned, and as far as ease of business is concerned, again, it's too early. One swallow doesn't make summer, as we say in Dutch. So we have to wait for those implementing regulations. But certainly it appears that all the holy houses, the heilige huisjes in Dutch, that were in fact impediments in the Indonesian investment regulations, not all of them are going, but some very important ones have been removed by this omnibus law. So I think you should forge your iron as the fire is hot. Sorry for all these Dutch.
Very good. But at least, Pak Theo,
Very
we don't
correct.
have to say, we don't have to sing the old song, the long and winding road anymore. Yeah.
That is correct, Pak. That is absolutely correct.
Thank you, Pak Theo, for an excellent presentations. So, ladies and gentlemen, participants, I remind again, any comment, any questions, please send by chat so I can proceed it to the speakers. And for the time being, I hand over the speakers, the mic to Ms. Andika for another agenda. Time is yours, Bu Andika.
Thank you, Pak Lekatumpesi. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that there are many questions regarding these interesting presentations. We would like to give you the opportunity to formulate your questions while enjoying another performance of Astra Maya String Orchestra. Enjoy. I hope you again enjoyed this beautiful performance of Astra Maya Orchestra. This year, Indonesia is celebrating its 75th year of independence, and this orchestra does not only remind us of intensifying the bilateral relationship between Indonesia and Netherlands, but also to bestow our best for the greatness of our two countries. Next, I would like to show you two promotion videos from Interaromat and Kutus Kutus International BV. I believe that there are massive cooperation opportunities with these companies. So please have a look and enjoy.
Interaromat BV is an importer, exporter, and distributor for Indonesian food and beverage in Europe. Interaromat BV is limited liability under Dutch law and it operates with a registered address in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. We distribute Indonesian food and beverage products to European countries, such as the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Switzerland, and Denmark. Interaromat BV also acts as buying agent for selected ethnic and modern trade in Europe. And therefore, Interaromat has been regularly updated by new products which to be marketed and sold in Europe.
Seru rasanya, seru petualangannya.
Green Tea Duatan, the real green tea.
Warisan kebanggaan keluarga. Pelopor mie telur Indonesia. Hanya ayam 2 telur.
Interaromat, connecting markets. For more information, visit our website and consult with us on www.interaromat.com.
Ada yang bilang saya sedang berada di kebun sayur, atau malah di sawah atau di hutan. Bukan, saya sedang berada di apotek. Ya,
ini adalah apotek. Alam adalah apotek hidup yang memberikan segalanya untuk kesehatan kita.
Diawali dari pengalaman saya yang terkena masalah dengan kaki. Dari dulu saya percaya kita ini bagian dari alam. Jika terkena masalah, alam pasti sudah menyediakan solusinya. Berbekal resep leluhur, saya mencari bahan-bahan itu dari alam. Saya ramu, saya coba, lagi dan lagi. Hingga saya temukan satu formula yang tepat untuk masalah saya. Dan hasilnya, saya sendiri membuktikan alam memang luar biasa. Punya sedikit atau banyak, tentu tak ada gunanya jika saya tidak berbagi ilmu. Dari situ, niatan untuk berbagi itu makin kuat dan makin didorong untuk lebih kuat lagi. Setelah banyak yang merasakan manfaatnya, hingga hanya dalam waktu 2 tahun, pabrik ini sudah bisa berdiri. Dan sekarang sudah bisa melakukan proses yang lebih cepat, lebih modern, dan produksinya lebih banyak. Hari ini, sekitar 24.000 botol kita bisa produksi. Ini semua membuat banyak orang yang bisa merasakan manfaat minyak kutus-kutus. tubuh memiliki daya menyembuhkan dirinya sendiri. Dan kutus-kutus merangsang tubuh untuk mengeluarkan kekuatan itu. Balurkan dari tulang ekor hingga ke tengkuk. Dan juga telapak kaki.
Sudah membahagiakan banyak keluarga Indonesia. Bahkan sudah berkembang untuk kebutuhan perawatan tubuh yang lebih khusus. Dari ujung rambut sampai ujung kaki.
Yes. So what's the use of knowledge if you don't share it? I think this event is a great example of people sharing knowledge and sharing so everybody can benefit from current development. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to the question and answers led by Mr. Lekatumpesi. Mr. Lekatumpesi, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Ibu Andika. Thank you, Ibu Andika. I've been waiting for questions, but until up to this moment, no one gave a substance questions, but mostly are giving advice or recommendations. Maybe this is addressing more to the organizer and more to the BKPM. Number one, to the organizers, what they are asking, there's three ladies and gentlemen, Ibu Regina, Pak Sudarsono, dan Pak Fat, is requesting material can be shared or not with them. And then also the slides. And then number two, there is an recommendations or advice from Pak Ferdi Bear that is it good in case the BKPM can put the omnibus law in English in a website and also an explanation in a very simple way to so even common people can understand what is it and what is the pluses and what is the minuses. And that is actually the two, the 3 points. Number one is regarding the slides. Number two is regarding the omnibus law in English versions. And one more, Pak Erik from PT Inti Terang Hasil is asking in case as an UMKM, you want to cooperate with the Dutch government, how is how can he start it or how he can initiate it? Is it through the embassy or not? For these questions, I might not be at the positions, or in case Pak Theo can help to answer, otherwise maybe KBRI or BKPM who are there. If I'm not mistaken, Pak Iqmal is there. Maybe Pak Iqmal can help to to facilitate or to explain in a short in a short explanations, or even from the KBRI side. The floor is yours.
Well, is that a question to me, Pak Theo?
So far, not yet, okay. Pak Theo. So far, not yet. The questions and the advice is more to KBRI and more to BKPM. The one I'm telling you, some of the participants is asking for slides and presentation. Number two is advice to BKPM that the omnibus law can be put in a website in English and simple explanations for the reader to understand to understand what is omnibus law. So I'm actually referring this questions to anyone from BKPM who are still in KBRI Holland, maybe at the position to answer or to clarify or to explain, and also to KBRI. Anyone from KBRI? Or I saw Pak Iqbal is coming.
Thank you, Pak Theo, for the question or the message that addressed to the BKPM. I'm here trying to representing our chairman Bahlil here. So thank you for the suggestion from you that we will make more simply of our presentation, especially related to the omnibus law. So, but I would like to share with you the message, especially from the foreign investor that would like to come to Indonesia, because as far as I know, there are 2 tips to do business successfully in Indonesia. I think you should keep to do these 2 tips. First tip is please go to the right institution. Yeah. So, and then the second one, please go to the right local partner. So that's the 2 tips that make that will ensure that you can run your business in Indonesia successfully. So now you are one of the audience that really lucky, because you met already with the right institution. Who are the right institution? If we are talking about the Netherlands investor, so I think it's very today is we have a good opportunity for you, because you have already the right institution that are the Indonesian embassy here and also the Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board. So anything that you need, any information that you need, any license that you need, just come to Indonesian embassy and our office BKPM in Jakarta. And the second one is let's go to the right local partner. You are also happy, lucky, because you have met already now with our colleague from Indonesia, like Ibu Sinta, Pak Theo, that's Pak Hapsha, I saw in the screen. So we can make the good collaboration within the private sector and the government, how to encourage, how to make your businesses running well in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ima. A very clear and good explanations. And one of the participants gave me a note that they like your necktie. It's a real Oranje style necktie. Well, there's one more question, but this is addressing to addressing to the KBRI, to KBRI Den Haag. The question is about the visa request for a Dutch business traveler. I mean, how are actually this can be handled in a more easier way? And also, it's a question from Garuda, and then the question from one gentleman in Manado is asking any possible for something like online visa or any other easier means to get a visa. Someone from KBRI maybe can help to to reply or to explain.
For the visa, the best source for applying visa to Indonesia from the Netherlands is to the website of our embassy, www.kbridenhaag.nl, Indonesia.nl. And I think it is very clear website for everybody, because there the application is much more easier at the moment. We have making it all online, so you don't need to come to the KBRI for applying visa, and this can be done according to the system. This actually new online application is we have it just about 2 weeks ago, and this will make it not only applying visa is much more easier, but also will be more transparent. So I would like to give advice for all of you who would like to apply visa for the businessman. All the regulations and how to apply also, it is in our website. Please visit our website, and with that, it will be very easy and straightforward. And I believe if you have any further question relating to your visa, for example, you already have booked an appointment for a week from now, but there is new development or making it much more difficult for you, you can rearrange it also through our website. So I think that it will be, I already answer all of the question. Is there any other question, Pak Theo? The sound, Pak Theo, I don't hear anything yet.
Sorry. So far, there's no other questions. Okay. They want to give you a better life.
Thank you, Pak Leo.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Vicky. So, ladies and gentlemen, participants, before I conclude the discussion, I might give one more chance to Pak Theo, maybe for his last word or his last advice to all of us. Please, Pak Theo Baker.
Can you hear me, Pak?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, I think a word of thanks to the organizers of this seminar or webinar. I think it was extremely helpful and efficient the way this was brought forward by both BKPM and KBRI. So I think all the participants owe you a big thank you very much. For the Dutch investors, I think I've already given my recommendation. We in Indonesia keep working on making the information available as it becomes available. So as soon as there's an implementing regulation, you can go to one of our websites and you will then find whether the sector of industry that you represent is being regulated under the omnibus law. For the rest, no, I think we're all positive about where we're going, and let's hope that in a couple of weeks or months we can do a similar webinar and conclude that everything has been established the way it should be.
Thank you, Pak Theo. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusions, I can share what is the main idea of what of the two speakers just now shared with all of us. That in short, that we don't have to sing a song of the long and winding road anymore when you want to invest in Indonesia. And there's a big effort and maximum effort of the government and also the perceptions of the businessmen that all of the site of the main destinations of the Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja or this new law is actually to improve the level of doing business in Indonesia. Regardless, there is some questions in some area from the 11 clusters, like employment and also environment. So that is the main issues. And before I hand over the sessions to the MC, I would like to thank you for everyone who already participate until this time, to all participants, 49 participants in this moment, to the speakers, KBRI, BKPM. Also special thanks to two gentlemen here, that is Ambassador Van Dam, who ever been in Jakarta, and Mas Yota, the son of Ibu Retno, who is in patience joining us from the beginning until this moment. Thank you, and Ibu Andika, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pak Theo, for your leading the Q&A session, and it was great to collaborate you in this way, in this hybrid way. It gives us opportunities for the future, I think. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would like, I believe that you all have a clearer vision of current business climate in Indonesia, especially on the new law on job creation. However, if you still have questions, please do contact the Indonesian Embassy, and they're very ready to assist you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to offer you more cooperation opportunities. With a video, we would like to present you now with a video of Friesland Campina and Crazy Diamonds, followed by the last part of the Astra Maya String Orchestra. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Friesland Campina. I was born in Bandung, Indonesia, and currently I live in Rotterdam. Actually, I started my career in the Netherlands since 2010. I was at the time a professional artist for painting and sculpture. So far, I've received about 40 international art awards and 155 times national art awards from Indonesia. I was also art ambassador for UNICEF and UNESCO. And so far, my artworks have been collected by a royal family, including Queen Beatrix, world leaders such as Prime Minister Rutte, museums, art collectors, and so on. So that's how I started my career in the Netherlands. And in 2017, I started a new company, which got me a special startup visa from the Dutch government. Startup visa is a residence permit for a high potential startup. And I'm really proudly the first Indonesian to got it. Also still the only Indonesian that had a startup visa. So my company is a smart wearable company that we combine fashion and technology becomes together with a function for public transport check-in, check-out, bank payment system, and also open the door within our smart ring, example this one, or our smart bracelet, or our smartwatch. So this function can be also like becomes together or separate. Also like the design itself like is depending on what client wants. And within this as well, like we don't need the plastic card anymore. Then we really help the world to reduce plastic waste. And also like, of course, we use the sustainable material, yeah? And within this COVID-19, we have the new technology that you can tap in, tap out within 10 centimeters distance, so you don't need to touch anything. We have several previous projects that you will also see in the video, the next video that I have. And our office, currently the head office located in Boston, USA, that running by my business partner, Edward. And our European office is in Rotterdam. Secondly, I'm also running a high-end jewelry company with diamonds, gemstone, and gold, together with two partners, which is Rika and Shirley. And our offices are located in Rotterdam and Jakarta, while our manufacturers are located in Den Haag, also India. So thank you so much, everyone. For next, I hope you're gonna enjoy my smart wearable video and also like my jewelry video. And at the end of the video, you will find my contact, because like I'm really looking forward to expand my company for new projects as well that we can collaborate. So thank you so much. Dank u wel. Terima kasih.
I like to save it. She likes to save it. He likes to save it. We like to save it. What I wanna get, what I wanna buy. Gotta make an effort, gotta do it right. Don't ask daddy, don't ask mommy. Put my money on a stamp. I like to save it. She likes to save it. He likes to save it. We like to save it. Boy.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as an appreciation for this excellent performance of Astra Maya String Orchestra, I would like to invite Mr. Patrick Wijnhamer, the conductor of the orchestra, to receive a bouquet of flowers from the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Indonesian Embassy to the Netherlands.
Sini.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our today's program. I would like to wish you all good health, and I truly hope that Indonesia and Netherlands will continue to nurture a close relationship and cooperation and intensify the development in the two countries and also the friendship of our peoples. For His Excellency Mr. Bahlil Lahadalia, I wish you a pleasant stay in the Netherlands, and I hope that you have a safe flight on your return to Indonesia. For His Ambassador Designated, His Excellency Meyerfas, I would like to welcome you and wish you all the best for your future assignment as the Ambassador of Indonesia to the Netherlands. Lastly, I pray that we will have many more events in the future, which is hopefully free from COVID. My name is Andika Rutten, and thank you. Have a nice weekend.